Diamond for 66 Alpha Romeo.
Beach ground for track 564.
Okay, I'm here in the run-up area at Long Beach in this 2020 DA62 that we listed for sale. I'll put the price up on the video at some point here. I don't have it right this second. But this airplane has about 830 hours on it, DA62. That's Diamond's latest variation of their twin-engine product line, the DA42 and the DA62. So I'm going to take you through the run-up. It's a little bit different. These engines are FADEC, as I mentioned in a video I did on the DA42. And so I'll take you through the run-up here real quick. We'll just use this checklist. I got the parking brake set, shoulder seatbelts on, seats adjusted. This has electric boost pedal or rudder pedal adjustment, which is really nice, and you can set it in an infinite amount of positions. There's no pre-selects. So that's a really nice feature. The DA42s that I've flown, probably the new ones have it, but the DA42s I've flown, it was a mechanical adjustment. A little bit of a pain. This is a really nice addition. All the doors are closed and no annunciators. Breakers are all checked and in. Electric trim works. Up works. Trim set for takeoff. Fuel selectors, they're down here. They're both on. All set. Cross feeds are off. Rudder trim is set. That's good. Flight controls, I checked those before. It's all good. I love the controller. Power levers are idle. Engine instruments are all good. A little bit low oil pressure on one engine, but those power up. Come up fine. And we checked the voter switches, which is basically FADEC, I think, channels. We go auto, A, auto, B, auto. On the right side, auto, A, auto, B, auto. And you can kind of feel it changing engine channels. All right, ECU test, we basically hold the ECU buttons in place and let the FADECs go through their pre-flight check, and you get some fail warnings, and you hear the engine cycle, and you just hold the buttons until it's complete. So there's the failures. That's normal. That's what you get. Engines are going through their cycles, making sure everything works good, and then at the end of it, all those should go away. Buttons. They all went away. Buttons are released. That's a good ECU check for both engines. Again, these engines are FADEC, so you don't really have any control. They're single lever power control, no mixtures, no props, all handled by FADEC. The power.
Delta 2855, cross runway 26
based on the engine load percentage.
119.4 at the end.
You have an RPM
26 left approach, 19.4 Delta.
indicator, but you don't know, you don't control that. Fuel flows and then the standard engine instrument. All right, so that's a complete check. We're going to taxi out to 26 here at Long Beach. We're going to set our flaps for takeoff, and we're going to turn our fuel on for takeoff. Take this up and cruise it and just see how fast it is, and talk a little bit about the plane. Again, this one's for sale. Run-up's complete for 66 Alpha Romeo.
November 6 Alpha Romeo, continue.
Twin Diamond 66 Alpha Romeo's ready. 26 left for a left turn to river.
November 66 Alpha Romeo, Long Beach Tower, runway 26 left, clear for takeoff and left at the river bridge.
Clear for takeoff, 26 left. 66 Alpha. Takeoff power. Your speed's alive. Rotation speed. Positive rate, gears going up.
Delta Flight 55, let me start, runway 30, clear for takeoff.
We're passing 8,000 off the coast of Long Beach in this DA62. DA62 obviously is a stretch of the DA42. 180 horsepower Austro 330 engines, which is I think 10 more horsepower per side than the DA42. And we're going to see what kind of true airspeed we get at 8,500 feet and fuel burn right now. 18 gallons, 9 gallons per engine. This is a very comfortable airplane. I mean, it's similar to the DA42 up here, but they've made some nice improvements. U1000 avionics, XI, with all the, XM traffic terrain. This airplane has air conditioning, no ice certified, 6 seats. This airplane has a 1,360-pound useful load, 50 gallons of gas in the main tanks, and I think 35 in the auxiliary tanks, so you got 85 total gallons. If you just have fuel in the mains, you got about 2.5 hours of range. We're burning about 16 gallons an hour in cruise, doing 170 knots. If we push that up a little, let's push it up a little. At 90. And then, if you do 85 gallons divided by, we're burning 17 gallons an hour total, divided by 17, 5 hours. So you got 4 hours, call it 4 hours plus reserve with the tanks full. If you just run with the main tanks, you got 2.5 hours and 1,000 pounds of useful load. That gets you 2.5 hours. 4 200-pounders and 200 pounds of fuel. It's pretty nice. I like the flexibility of filling just the mains, and at 100, we're doing 100, almost 180 knots true at 8,500 feet. That gives you close to a 500 nautical mile range with 1,000-pound useful load. It's pretty nice. It's pretty good, good utility. And you compare, really the only other certified twin that's available right now with 6 seats would be a Baron. And a Baron, you'd be burning double the fuel, and probably not the useful load. Probably similar useful load, but and you'd be probably a little faster at this altitude. But as you climb, you're going to probably take off to similar speeds. But you get good utility. You're building multi-engine time, which a lot of people, I think, who buy an airplane in this class want to, have aspirations to fly a jet, and like a Mustang or a M2, Phenom 100, whatever it may be, an Eclipse. Building multi-engine time is a good thing for insurance, for experience. You got FADEC engines, G1000, so you're acclimating yourself in an airplane like this for that type of flying in the future, if that's what you want to do. And if this is the ultimate airplane for you, I mean, great utility and and what a treat to fly. I really have grown to have a lot of respect for these Diamond airplanes. I think they're really solid airplanes. And this particular one's in, it's in like new condition. It's only got 800 hours on it. The interior is excellent condition. Exterior, excellent condition. It's a really clean, excellent example of a 62. Let's get the book out and just see kind of cruise speeds that they advertise. 8,000 feet at 95% power, 184 knots true airspeed on 19 gallons an hour. Up to 14,000 feet at 95% power, you're going to get 192 knots. In the oxygen, no oxygen altitudes, you only get a knot. It's pretty impressive cruise performance at 12,000 feet. 20 gallons an hour, we'll call it total fuel burn, 190 knots. At gross weight, 12,000 feet, you're only giving up a couple of knots. ISA. Based on what I see here, what I'm getting at 8,500, we're getting book speed. Getting 175 knots. So I would say this is an honest 190 knot true airspeed airplane at 12,000 feet. On my mind, on 20 gallons an hour, that's probably a full 10 gallons an hour to 12 gallons an hour less than a Baron. And I think the speed would be similar. And another thing, to me, that I like is it's burning Jet A. Jet A across the country is cheaper than 100. And, California, for instance, now there's a lot of pressure on 100 low lead. I think there's going to be some alternatives coming up, but I would feel a lot better about a Jet A powered airplane right now, especially in the state of California. It looks like Long Beach is IFR, so we're going to descend down and we'll do an approach. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a checklist, but I fly the Mustangs and the M2s a lot, and there's kind of a standard procedure that we use on instrument approaches, and I'm going to try to use the same basic foundation of how I would do an instrument approach in a entry-level, owner-flown, single-pilot jet. I'll back it up with the checklist, but just see how it compares. And SoCal Twin Diamond 66 Alpha Romeo.
66 Alpha Romeo, SoCal approach, go ahead.
VFR, we're north of Catalina, probably about 7 miles, descending out of 7,400. We have Alpha at Long Beach, requesting an ILS into Long Beach for a full stop.
66 Alpha Romeo, maintain VFR, squawk 5214.
VFR and 5214 on the code for 66 Alpha Romeo.
66 Alpha Romeo, radar contact 10 miles north of Catalina, and fly heading 020, vector for sequence, maintain VFR for now.
020 for 66 Alpha Romeo, we'll maintain VFR. 66 Alpha Romeo is going to have to level at 5 to maintain VFR.
And at 66 Alpha Romeo, you are cleared to Long Beach Airport now, via fly heading 040, radar vector for sequence, descend and maintain 4,000.
Clear to Long Beach, radar vectors, descend and maintain 4,000, 66 Alpha Romeo.
Up to 3,900, SoCal approach, thank you for Alpha, you're cleared ILS 30 or
All right, so I got the
Yankee or Zulu, whichever one you want, but you're cleared for the approach.
Minimum set. I'm going to go ahead and activate this approach. There it is. And on my power, what's interesting to me is I didn't even really look. I just set the power based on feel. And I look up and it's 48% on both sides, which pretty similar to what I'd be doing in on a Mustang or an M2.
66 Alpha Romeo, descend and maintain 3,000.
3,000, 66 Alpha Romeo. Want to progress in your flying and end up, in an entry-level jet someday. And I think the DA42 and the DA62 are excellent airplanes to do that, and you get, if you benchmark it against Cirrus, which is the kind of the standard now for new certified airplanes. Obviously this one, the stretch, the DA62 is more expensive, SR22, but it's 6 seats, so you get a little bit extra for the seats. But performance and fuel burns, I mean, this airplane's is probably better, certainly the 42. And so if you want to develop, my point is, if you want to develop multi-engine experience.
Descend and maintain 2,000 right now. Yeah, you're number 3 on a Boeing 737.
2,000, we're number 3, 66 Alpha Romeo. So anyway, the point I'm making is, if I were in a position to buy an airplane and I wanted to eventually transition into a twin jet, I would definitely look at a DA42 or 62, depending on what I need.
66 Alpha Romeo, make a left turn. Again, a left turn heading 120.
That's a left turn heading 120, 66 Alpha Romeo. So, because I'd want to build multi-engine time. For insurance, for familiarization, getting used to 2 engines, that, to me, that would be a smart move. And these are beautiful clouds we're getting a tour of here. Just a quick review on this airplane before I get busy on the approach. It's a 2020 DA62, excellent paint, excellent interior, G1000 NXI air conditioning, ice, XM, traffic, terrain, ADSB,
traffic, fly heading 040, maintain
all the options that you could that you can get on these airplanes, and it's very comfortable. Very stable airplane if you've never flown one. These are popular for a reason. They're just really good airplanes. There's 120, 2000. ILS is loaded and verified, and our descent and approach check. I'm just going to bring the fuel pumps on.
9.4, have a good day.
That's it. So really all I got now is flaps, gear, flaps, which would be the same in a Mustang M2. So right, I've got the power, 55% power.
3,000, cleared approach, runway 30.
There's 130 knots. And about 55% power on these engines. Beautiful.
Pick up Romeo, turn left heading 030.
So 50% power.
66 Alpha Romeo, you're 7 miles from Gunny, turn left heading 330. Maintain 2,000 till established. Cleared ILS approach, runway 30.
330 to join, 2,000 till established, cleared for the ILS 30, 66 Alpha Romeo. So 50% power, let's hit approach mode. Armed. 50% power, no flaps is getting me about 130 knots. Well within flap and gear speed. So pretty nice, easy, round power setting to
So it's 826, I got departure, radar contact, Mama maintain
so
7,000.
I'm 6 miles from the final approach fix. So I'm going to intercept the glide path or the glide slope prior to the final approach fix. I'm going to put, I'm going to fly this with flaps approach. I'm not going to fly it with full flaps. I'm going to fly flaps approach, and then landing assured, I'll go flaps full. That's probably how I would do it. And I don't know what they train, but that's probably how I would do it if I owned the airplane and flew it, because I didn't want to, you know, drag full flaps in all the way from the final approach fix. So my landing configuration will be flaps in the approach, off approach setting. Comes a glide slope. So I'm going to put flaps out about 1 mile from the final approach fix, and then gear over the final approach fix. Bring the power back, let's say to 30%. Let's see how that works. There's the localizer.
66 Alpha Romeo, contact Long Beach Tower 119.4. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Thanks for your help. 66 Alpha Romeo.
Long Beach Tower, helicopter 364, Mike at Beverly, request pilot flight month and use information Bravo.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll go flaps.
Will be at your risk. Pad 2, 3, or 4, clear to land.
I'll go flaps at 1 dot.
Clear for takeoff, 64 Mike.
Pad 4, clear to land, helicopter 364 Mike.
And then gear about a mile or 2 miles. There's 1 dot. I'll do flaps joining. Flaps, takeoff and approach. Comes the glide slope. Alright, gear coming down. It's 3 green and 35% power. We're coming up on the final approach fix.
1956, turn right to Kilo.
Pumps are on. Gears down, 3 green.
Over to ground, southwest.
Flaps are in the landing, or in the takeoff and approach position, which is what I'm going to fly it at. Stow this thing now. Power's 35%, so it's 105.
4 Charlie Victor, standing down, traffic from off 100 to 1 down.
Stand downwind 24 Charlie Victor.
66 Alpha Romeo, ILS 30 full stop.
Turn down 66 Alpha Romeo, let me show Romeo 30, clear line.
Clear to land 3066 Alpha Romeo.
Long Beach Tower's got.
When I set this
short of
power,
requesting to do traffic pattern.
my goal is to not change it.
Possible, and if need be, we could switch to 26, right?
Sure, 5239, let me share, no problem. Make left traffic 26 left, maintain VFR, Romeo 26 left.
Maintain stability.
26 left, clear for takeoff.
And if I do make adjustments, it's small adjustments. So back just a little bit. I was just a little above 30.
Number 6 Alpha Romeo, traffic 12 o'clock, getting 2 miles eastbound to Cessna 1000 VFR.
Looking 66 Alpha Romeo. Let's try 30. I think flaps approach, gear down flaps approach at the final approach fix is more efficient way to fly these approaches. It's getting me 100 knots, 30% power is 100 knots. So instead of 35 over the final approach fix, I would have went 30. Nice stable approach. I got the runway in sight now. So at the 500-foot call, I'll go to full flaps. That does. Traffic's in sight for 66 Alpha Romeo.
Take it.
Minimums.
Autopilot's off. I'm not touching the power. There's down 3 green. Very stable airplane. Now it's a little slower than probably may have stuck with 35% power. I'm just coming back on the power.
Traffic, 12 o'clock. Same altitude.
That's 139, runway 26 left, clear for the option.
26 left, clear for the option. 139er.
Number 6 Alpha Romeo, left at Delta 4, can I go?
Delta 4 to ground, 66 Alpha Romeo.